Welcome to another episode of the North South podcast, and we are back after a month of coincidentally internet problems on both our sides.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a never-ending battle. Seems like it's for everyone in the world. Well, for you it was just because you moved, but
yeah.
for me it was more like just dealing with South African ISP usual, basic South African stuff. But yeah, lots of sports to catch up on, lots of drama to catch up on, actually, lots of tragedy to catch up on. I don't know whether it always is this busy or whether it's just because we haven't spoken about it, it feels like everything built up. But crazy start to the year, man. I think first and foremost, I think Kobe Bryant transcended basketball. He was like his work ethic, his skill, his temperament in clutch moments. It just transcended sport. He's one of the greatest athletes of all time in terms of the temperament, the mindset, the hard work, the message he gave out. So like, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, man. He had and was doing a massive role in female basketball. I know he worked with the Laureate Sports Academy. He reached out in that way. He definitely had a role to play in coaching in the NBA. Still years to come. Who knows? Maybe an owner one day. Just cut short in such a tragic way. And like, his daughter died with him, and so many people died in the helicopter crash. Just a horrible, horrible way to start the year in the sports world, man. Still a shock. I think everyone still is in shock that Kobe's gone. But yeah, obviously you get people trying to like bring up his rape case or whatever, and like maybe some of you have heard about that. But like, just to clear the air with that, he was found not. I think he just paid a settlement. And that should tell you everything you need to know about that situation. So yeah, if you're trying to bring that up against a dude who won 5-6 championships, you know, a hero to like millions, and like so many of the dudes now in the NBA say started playing basketball because of him and things like that. To taint it like that's really disrespectful. And I've seen quite a few people, like prominent people, bring that up, and I don't know whether it's for attention or what, but man, Kobe will definitely be missed, dude. On a selfish note, though, I'm glad his career was, in the books, and that wasn't at least cut short,
Yeah, I think as well, like you say, transcends just the basketball world, because you just look at the athletes and the influential people around the world that when they heard of his passing and that had something to say or posted something on social media and whatnot. It was like from celebrities to around the world. All those, like the NBA players, current NBA players like Trae Young and all those kind of the younger generation now that are just hitting their peaks, and that like them coming out and saying how much he influenced them and how important he was in their lives, and all the kind of community-based work that he was busy doing and like he had planned. He was just one of those guys that I think would never stop hustling. He's always got something to do and a bigger picture in mind. I think his main goal was just to help as many people as possible. And you could just see that in his work, in his ethic as well.
Yeah. I think Kobe's the one thing everyone speaks about. People who barely know him just know him for his hard work. And if you think about the way he died, he used to, the way he could actually fit everything into his schedule, having kids, getting in the practice, and Kobe practices not just quick practice, probably hours and hours and hours of different sort of disciplines and healing processes and mental drills and whatnot. That's the reason he was on a helicopter, because he gave everything to that city. He never let the traffic get to him. He always found a way to get things done. But yeah, man, it's going to be a tough rest of the season with that hanging over it. Rest of the season's obviously dedicated to him and what he meant to the game. He grew basketball so much around the world. But yeah, moving on from that, now that's been spoken about, I'm obviously a Chelsea supporter.
Okay.
I'm obviously a Chelsea supporter. You're a Man United supporter. Let's just get that out the way.
Okay, we'll get this out the way
as well. It was meant to be 2-2, but Giroud's toe was offline, and someone dominoed someone else, far off the ball for the other goal. So VAR, I want to speak about VAR, man, and I'm not just saying that recently. I know I've heard murmurs about it. It's sort of changing the game. for cricket, it wasn't like this when they first introduced it. It was sort of like rooting out the nonsense. But now it's like no one appealed for offside. No one appealed that first goal where Fred pushed Azpilicueta and Azpilicueta bumped into a Man United player and the Man United player fell over. That was in front of where the goal took place. No one appealed for anything for the offside, and the ref didn't give a penalty. The ref didn't give a foul to rule out the other goal. So, like, it's sort of taking over the game, if you understand what I'm saying.
But
it's
that's
sort
also,
of like
that's also the team's fault then.
It's taking on a life of its own, but it's not like cricket though. It's not like, oh, I'm appealing that decision, you know what I'm saying? It's sort of like VAR's lurking over the game. It doesn't feel organic anymore. I'll be honest with you, not just because I'm a Chelsea supporter. That game felt like a 2-2 game, man. I won't lie. Michi Batshuayi, our striker, is playing horrendously bad. On Chelsea Fan TV, they gave him a rating of 0 for that match. That's how bad he played. He could have scored 3 goals easily by himself. So Chelsea in a lot of problems. And just to end on Chelsea quick, they need to give Lampard a chance. I think we had the transfer ban, we had all that sort of stuff. So they need to give him a chance. Then he needs to sign more players that are going to come in and help him. We're short in many different departments and we have injuries. So people calling for Lampard to leave are just like fly-by-night supporters. They're not real Chelsea supporters because they know he's a young person. The club's growing. Chelsea's growing. So let that organically happen together. But yeah, man, what's your take on VAR? Do you think it should just sort of lurk over the game like an all-seeing FIFA eye? When you play FIFA, like the line is the line, and you know?
Well, yeah, I guess in some parts that's exactly what it was introduced to do, to make sure that the rules are met and to ensure that, if there are any of those indecisive moments in a game, there's no grey areas.
What there is though. Doesn't a perceived collision look worse in slow motion?
Yeah, it does. But then that's also up to the person judging it off the field, the ref. He's also got to use his knowledge and background to decide, okay, it is going to look worse in slow-mo. So yeah, he's got to make sure that he takes note of that.
So if VAR is going to stay, why is it so completely forbidden and unever spoken about, or like ridiculous idea to stop the fucking clock? Why can't you just stop the clock like rugby? What is so hard about that?
I agree. That should take place.
It's like this football clock is so sacred, it can never be touched or stopped like an Olympic flame. I've never ever seen it touched.
It's also that they with regards to VAR and that they shouldn't have to go up to that third ref kind of thing just when they need it. So that ref should be also giving them information as he sees it while he's watching the game, because he's obviously watching it from a different angle, and the ref on the field at our site, and the touch judges aren't going to have the same angles as he does. So yeah, and I don't know, is the VAR in the Premier League now, is it the one where the ref has to run off the field and fucking...
No.
Okay, it's not that shit.
No, it's not that shit. I think they play it. I think they might play it on the big screen, maybe. I'm not sure. Okay. But no, he doesn't run off. He definitely doesn't run off. I think there is a league where he runs off.
I think this league it was trialed in one of the leagues in Europe. But
they can do whatever they want. Just stop the clock.
Yeah.
Like, is it that flippin' hard?
Mm.
It's really not. They've been doing it rugby all the time. It works pretty well.
Yeah.
And then you get a solid 90-minute game. Like, you just say you place a bet or something, and you'd be like, 90 minutes, and they do the ads on 7. Like, that is a big percentage of the game, of the half. You've just added on to it. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to speak about the All-Star game quick before we jump to some cricket?
Yeah, that was, well, what I saw of it was pretty amazing, just to see those players, like to see that.
How good was it to watch LeBron and Kawhi on the same team, dude?
And
that was mind-blowing.
And you got like Harden as well, just in the background there. You've got Luka Doncic.
And then there's also Nikolai Jokic.
Yes.
Jokic, the center.
Trae Young played extremely well that game.
Trae Young, for his age, for his size, he recently broke a record that Jordan held for like most 30 or 40 point games in a row in the beginning of the season or something. But any record that you break that Jordan held is like a massive achievement. It like makes your season for you.
And hopefully you can move from the Atlanta Hawks to that.
I don't know, move or maybe build a team there, because they are playoff pedigree. They have been there in the last few years. Just recently, like a lot of Paul Pierce retired, Al Horford left. I remember recently they were in the playoffs. They made it pretty far. I think Eastern Conference final or semifinals. So yeah, man, Atlanta's a great place. It's a big market for Trae. I think he'd do well there, dude. I think he's going to be one of the top 5 or 10 basketball players in the league in the years to come. He's surging, man. As a youngster, he's surging. He's averaging 10 more points this season than he did last year. That's completely unheard of. Unless you weren't playing last year, playing this year. He had full minutes last year, and he's having full minutes this year. He's scoring 10 more points a game. That's an incredible pickup.
I think his threes are going up as well, percentage-wise.
His threes are going up. His playmaking is sensational. It's sensational. The angles he gets, the spinning. Like, he's the sort of dude that will, like, as a point guard, you'll be standing there and he'll pass it this way, but it will spin. It'll bounce there and turn the other way. Does crazy things like that. You only pick up in slow motion. He's one of those sort of technical players. It'll be crazy if he could team up with a good pair and create like a big three somewhere. That would be cool.
And one of the other things that stood out for me was Joel Embiid doing a bit of a quick step around LeBron. That was quite impressive later on in the game. But yeah, just to see the pedigree of those players on there was just mad.
And the nice thing about Embiid is he's like a proper African.
Yeah.
He's not really Americanized that much.
Yeah.
So he's like our African player would be playing there. It's basically just him, Serge Ibaka, Pascal Siakam, but he's sort of been in Toronto for a while now. So like, yeah, man, you get that bit of African toughness and stuff from Embiid that comes through with these games, which is Embiid's highly rated, man. He's like top 3 or 4 centers in the game at the moment. His production's incredible, and he's on a team that could probably make it to the final this year.
Possibly.
So, yeah, representing Africa very well there. Into cricket.
Yeah, sure.
South Africa and England basically just scoring over 200 like it's, no one's business. Is England and South Africa really good teams? Was it the pitch? I'm speaking about the last game, specifically. Because from what I saw, our fielding was atrocious. That's the first thing I saw. Dropped a lot of catches. And you need to take those catches. But England are a scary team in all formats. And that's not something you see very often.
Yeah, definitely. I think they basically scored or nearly scored 200 in every one of the T20 games. But yeah, in that last one, obviously Centurion is known for its high scoring, but even in Durban, getting over 200 in Durban kind of thing, which is never unheard of, basically. And yeah, Quinton de Kock, geez, amazing striking at the top. Him and Temba Bavuma, what an opening pair.
What do you think about Temba Bavuma being touted as a test player and then giving a chance now? I think if you're a good test player, you're always a good T20 player. You're a good cricket player. You know what I'm saying? You just need to translate your game properly. Amla showed it. He was like test bound. They were like, this dude will never play one-day cricket. And he was rated number 1 in the world for a while in that format.
Yeah, it's all like you say, it's about being a good cricketer. It doesn't matter what format of the game is. You need to just transform the way you play to the game. If you're in a test game, you've got time, you can block it out, you can play more reserve strokes. So if it's T20, you just got to be a bit quicker, chip it in the air, get it over the fielders. Yeah, you just got to make sure you play accordingly to the format. Yeah.
South Africa, we really, really want Temba Bavuma to do well, man. On a different level to the other guys, because one, you take a liking to someone who's not, big in stature in terms of sport, because like they always at a little bit of a disadvantage. But I mean, in cricket, that's thrown out the window because of Sachin and things like that. So that's the first reason why he's very likable. And the second was we haven't really seen Ashwell Prince, yes, a couple of other guys, yes, but a proper, African guy coming through batting, playing that role. We've seen them come through with the raw athleticism and skill in the bowling, but we haven't seen a guy really, surge with the bat. And Temba Bavuma could easily, it's taken him a little bit of a while to get going in international cricket, so obviously certain things are out his reach within his career, but if he can, get another 100, start allowing himself to be part of the Proteas more, become more essential to the team, I feel, without much evidence that I can show, he's a very good leader. I just feel like he is. I don't know why, but I just feel like he is.
I have the same feeling. But if you just go back to Temba's stroke play and the way in which he plays, he's an amazing stroke player. He's got an eye for the ball, and you can see he's one of those gifted players. He just looks like a well-rounded cricketer, especially a batsman in particular. But yeah, I also feel that he is a good leader, and he could possibly be one of the future captains of the Proteas, or at the least vice captain. In Quinton de Kock's absence or whatever.
But I mean, like, the reason why I said he's because of his age and how long it took him to get in. With Quinton there, you have to admit Quinton's a bit of a better captain, probably a bit of a lot better player at the moment if you look at numbers. But yeah, vice captain, definitely.
Yeah,
and if Quinton's absence, captain, I think he'd go a long way, man. He needs a moment, dude. He needs his moment. Like, I go back, I think I've seen Prince have it, I've seen Gibbs have it, I've seen, when you're struggling, you need that moment. Definitely Duomini, he's had it every single time he's about to get dropped, he's had it. By the way, Duomini is like sort of my pet peeve when it comes to actually all formats, because he's very well renowned for being an excellent T20 player in India and things like that. It's just when he plays for us, he doesn't or didn't really, unless it was at the end of a test match in Australia with the series on the line, then he'll maybe show up.
It's when the money comes in, when like Russell Domingo or someone comes, one of the coaches comes in.
Otherwise, you can get a solid 13 or 14 from him.
Yeah, very solid.
Incredibly solid and reliable.
And someone like that currently is or makes me feel that is David Miller. Unfortunately, is like. Yeah, you can get like a solid 20 out of him off 30 balls in a T20 game. But
he'll hit a six. He'll hit a 100 meters, but then he'll go out. So why don't you just hit 270-meter sixes and make it, a bit more runs?
Or just not block for the next 6 balls.
I guess Miller's annoying you.
So yeah, and Faf du Plessis as well. I don't know why he's come out and said that he'll still be available for all formats of the game. I think he's not getting the note that once you've been removed as captain, it's kind of their nice way of showing you the door.
Let's get into that though. Did he resign?
Or
was he told to? Or was he sort of asked to?
He's probably asked to.
Because he says it was his what he wanted to do was facilitate the new guys coming in and the transition with everyone leaving over the last 3 years, and to sort of instill the old way into the guys. And when he felt that it was done and correct, he'd step back. But I mean, if you're going to play, why not captain? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the thing is as well, what's a shit guy that's in shit form going to help people with? His form over the last 18 months is like really debatable. For someone that's supposed to be like one of the best cricketers going around,
okay, if you put it that way, yes, I think his athleticism's got him a lot further than
Yeah, obviously, and
he's known for being a gritty player. But if you want to talk about grit, we have Alga. So how many Boucher-like gritty players do you need in a team?
Yeah,
you always only place for one or two, and as a captain, you can't. I think Quinton's probably the right guy to go forward because he could build a career as a captain.
In this T20 series, like watching Quinton play and that, all I saw was Mark Boucher. I was like, this is exactly what Mark Boucher was like, and I was like, that's fantastic. That's what we need. So yeah, it was really good to see like Quinton there and leading. And then I was like, well, Faf isn't needed. You've got Quinton there. You don't need Faf. He's in poor form.
There's guys knocking hard on the door to come into that side, that T20 side.
He's not playing domestic cricket now. So he needs to either start playing a lot more domestic cricket and work his way back up into form, or just say call it quits. That's it. Go play your T20 leagues 3 times a year around the world and get paid millions. But yeah, don't come here and think like you still got something to offer when it doesn't look like you do.
Yeah, no, I won't lie. His form in the England series was
shit.
It was poor. It was poor from a captain.
It was shit.
Some of the ways he went out and stuff like that, very, very questionable. But is AB coming back?
Well, I hope so. That's it. Yeah, it's one of those things again. Like AB always just gives us that little bit of glimmer of hope, and then he's like, "Nah, actually, it's fine. I'm not going to come back."
You think he knows how much it hurts to watch him play? Like, okay, yeah, Big Bash is Big Bash, but it's international. Big Bash is international. It's sort of like we watched you sweat and die in India for so many evenings. Same with Stain. Basically gave his heart, his body, and his career to that country and money.
Yeah.
So many times I watch them, and when it really does matter, when we really need them, they're not there.
Yeah.
They're not there for whatever reason. So we've had this discussion before about cricket. It's losing its allure in the modern era. And it's South Africa's fault for not paying them enough.
The international game.
No, but then other guys don't do that to their countries.
No, I'm saying that on the international stage, yes, it is. But domestically, that's where it scores. Because you've got all these guys, all these international stars going to the IPL, the Caribbean League, the Big Bash. But yeah, I think it would be great to see Dale Steyn and AB de Villiers together in SA Sky.
That would feel like all
just
times, eh?
One more time. But obviously, you've got to look at the current crop of players as well. And you've got to think, does AB de Villiers even have a spot in the team?
Oh, shut up, Darren.
Shut up. Just look at Heinrich Klaasen's his last game, scoring 66 or 30 balls. You've got Quinton to Cock. You've got Temba up front. You've got Rassie. He's fantastic.
But you have to put de Villiers in, man. Are you serious?
Well, yeah, okay. I would drop Pretorius in a heartbeat. I don't know why Pretorius is there.
But honestly, when it comes to de Villiers, he ended his career so flippin' prematurely. He could have given us so much more in terms of service. Like I said, going back to the IPL thing. No, man. You see, as AB de Villiers, you can slowly cut things out. You can slowly cut out cover fielding. You can slowly cut out the one-day game. You can slowly cut out any sort of... not even like Chris Gayle, like Cullis. Well, actually, Cullis blazed in on his last sort of test, so that's not really it. But you can... You know what I'm trying to say? You can take off things. As a pure batsman like AB, you can go into 41, 42, 43 before you start breaking out. He's supremely fit. 44, 45.
Chris Gayle, with AB. That's what I'm saying. He's in his 40s. The last 2 years, I think he's probably ran for a ball once. Fields at mid-on sometimes. Otherwise, it's slip. Tells other guys, get out the way.
Funny thing, though, Grayle's always been like that. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
1.5 steps in before he comes with these round arm fucking off spinners.
Yeah.
2 steps in.
Yeah, it shortens every game.
Just taking the Jamaican chilled lifestyle to a whole new level.
Yeah.
So ferocious hit off the ball though, probably absolutely terrifying to bowl against him.
Yeah. So yeah, you could do that, but it will be interesting to see if we do have one more swan song with him.
I think we will, man. I think de Villiers is gonna have a career resurgence in South Africa. He seems bored on Instagram. He seems bored on Instagram, a bit too much golf, a bit too many dinners. He sort of lives the same life as Gibbs, but Gibbs is retired and properly old enough to be living like that. But But you were talking about how the guys, we don't sort of blame them for valuing sort of money. A cricket career is short. Kyle Abbott, don't blame him for leaving. But then now Vernon's come out and spilt the beans about what happened in 2015, which we said on this podcast before most likely happened. They received a call from, I think it was Haroon Logat or one of the selectors who said, don't forget the quota numbers. We had to drop one of the best bowlers in the tournament, Kyle Abbott, and Vernon Philander even said himself he was injured and he still had to play, and we lost that match by this much. That's unforgivable. You can't get those years back. You can't get those cups back. You can't get those moments back. It's unforgivable what this nonsense policies have done. The players don't even appreciate it.
Well, the thing is as well, the management that called for that are all gone now, so you can't even hold them accountable. So
yeah, well, you know what they should have done was they should have just played Kyle. Vernon wouldn't have said anything. Just done it. And if heads roll, but you gave it your best shot. This is sport, Darren. Yes, this is not politics. Do you understand what I'm saying? You cannot.
No, I understand what you're saying, but
I'm saying like
others don't.
You cannot do anything in a right mind to bring your chance of winning down. It does not happen in professional sport. You can't do that. Heads must roll for that. So to see this political shit come to a head where you got to play an injured guy to replace one of the best bowlers, as a sports lover, that makes me sick. I don't care about any of the political stuff. Yeah. Whatever they've done is incorrect. I don't even want to go into what they've done. But we could have won that World Cup, and you know it as well. And they know it. That's why they were crying like that. That's probably, now when I think about it, that's probably why Morkel was crying like that.
Yeah. If you think about it as well, it's like you say, those moments and those chances, even from the player's perspective, are never going to come back. And they lost a game because of a political decision that had nothing to do with the game at all. Nothing. It's just a fairy tale that some other guys want in their life, and they've got to live by it. And that's why you saw the exodus.
Even putting the policy aside, relax it for one game when you don't have to play an injured player to meet the quota. You know what I'm saying? Because we know you guys are not thinking about the actual game in the World Cup. You guys are just thinking about getting points with your party and moving up the ranks and getting enriched and whatever. So at least from that political aspect, don't be so silly as to do that in future. But I don't think we'll run into that problem again, hopefully. But that broke my heart, man. Especially to hear Vernon say, I was injured. And Kyle should have played, definitely. Because you got to remember, Vernon's a South African, man. He's a Protea. He wants to see us win. In sport, you don't do shit to make you not win. Just don't. It doesn't come into their head. So to see that happen, that's sad, man. And it just shows, like, can't mix the two, dude.
No, definitely not.
And just the last thing about cricket, man. I was watching a domestic game recently on TV, and there is not like barely anyone there.
Yeah,
and like
crowd attendance is down heavily.
And I mean, they are like, the quality of cricket is first class. It's proper first class cricket. Hamza, the domestic guys, all the guys that rotate in and out of the teams are playing. You got to think, like, if that starts to crumble, where are we going to get our Proteas from?
I don't know. Well, the thing is, as well as that, obviously, previously, I think CSA have also acknowledged that they haven't been doing enough, probably, to encourage more people to get out to games and made it more easier for people to attend. So I'm hoping with these new changes that are happening, especially with Graham Smith in charge and that, they will look at this. And there's obviously the change upcoming with the 12-team system going to be starting, I think, next season, which also makes things quite interesting. But something definitely does have to happen to get more people going to these local games, because obviously watching on your TV and that is so easy and more efficient for most people than going out to a game. And if you think it might rain, why risk it?
But you also got to look at, if there aren't a lot of eyes in the stadium, it might put off sponsors. And once the sponsors start dying, the incentive for them to play franchise cricket is lost. Basically, this is basically like sounding the alarm, like before things get bad. Because the only time we'll wake up is when T20, ODI, and Test ranks all drop below 5 or 6 consistently, and we just become a laughingstock at home. It hasn't happened yet, and I think we're a few years away from it happening, because the school system's very strong.
School cricket and that is really good. Club cricket's still pretty strong in South Africa. It's like you say, the main thing is making sure that the sponsorships stay in place. Because if you start losing those, even like Sunfoil recently is pulling out and all that kind of stuff, that's a big sponsor for CSA. So you got to think where they've got to find a new model to get income in. Maybe it's in a different sector, a different sponsor, or there needs to be. I know West Indian Cricket have started to stream some of their local games on YouTube and that. Maybe
that honestly would help a lot, man, because there's quite a monopoly on games. Like SuperSport has a monopoly on them. You'd never see a domestic game, I don't think, on SABC, or even on any of the compact channels or anything like that.
But everyone's on YouTube now.
Nothing on Showmax. Nothing on sort of. Well, Showmax is South African, which they have sport now. They have like a few of the first division soccer matches and things like that, but few and far between. I always said, man, I'd be willing to pay a handsome dollar for just a few of the SuperSport channels. Just stop being so, archaic with your marketing model and treating the consumer as if they're stupid, because they're not. That's why your company is crumbling, MultiChoice. But anyway, and MultiChoice still doesn't offer an exclusive online package where you can just pay for the channels online. Like, how desperate are you to get us to buy your MultiChoice locked hardware just for sport? And then blocking out the competition supremely to try and enter South Africa and try and get sports rights.
Or maybe on closing, then what we should look into, and what in conversation brought up with Adam Collins, was they bought the right to certain games and that. And that's something we should probably maybe look into.
Okay. That sounds like a good note to end on.
Thanks for listening, and please remember to subscribe and follow us on our different social media pages. Catch you next time.